Hi guys, it's Kath. Due to popular demand, I'm going to show you how to make a miniature violin. This video has been highly requested ever since I made my miniature guitar video, so I really hope you like it. These little guys are so adorable and only require a few simple supplies, including popsicle sticks, coffee stirrers, and toothpicks. Let's get started. The first thing I do is grab some graph paper. Draw a rectangle 1 1/4 inches high and 3/4 of an inch across. Then draw a line straight down the center and across the middle for guidelines. From the top middle point, draw a curve outward and downward, gently curving back in for a thin section in the middle of the body. This is a good time to reference a picture of a real violin or just print one out from Google Images. Once you're satisfied with how it looks, cut that template out. Now take some jumbo popsicle sticks. Use the cutout as a pattern and trace the shape onto the popsicle stick. Then carefully cut that out with an X-Acto knife. Go slow here. Use a file to smooth out any rough edges. Make 2 of these, one for the front and one for the back. For the sides of the body, grab some wooden coffee stirrers. As usual, links to all the products I use are in the info box below. I take a few and soak them in a jar of water overnight. They should be nice and pliable once I take them out. Stack the front and back pieces together and wrap a coffee stirrer around the edges. Use rubber bands to tightly hold the stirrer in place and cut off any excess wood. Once it's dry, remove the rubber bands. Look how cool that shape is. Now you have your violin sides. Before we glue that onto the body, let's add some details to the front piece. Reference a picture of a real violin and draw on the F-holes in the middle of the piece. They're just simple curves. Take a mini hand drill and drill through that area. It doesn't need to look perfect, we just want to get through the wood. Once you've drilled through most of the area, take your X-Acto knife and carve out any remaining wood. Carefully clean up that area. Do this for the other F-hole as well. Okay, now you can glue the curved sides onto the front piece. I just use wood glue here, but you can also use super glue. To make sure I have a really strong hold, I go around the edges with wood glue one more time. Now just take a file and sand down the sides of the front piece. Sand out and down so all the side edges slope downward. Do this for the top and bottom as well. This is the arch shape you're looking for. Now glue on the back piece and sand down all the side edges just like we did for the front. This looks pretty good. Now that the body is nearly done, let's work on the fingerboard and the scroll. Draw a 1/2 inch by a 1/4 inch rectangle. Inside of it, draw a simple scroll shape. It's kind of like a fat question mark. Trace that shape onto another popsicle stick and cut it out. You'll need 2 of these. Now take another coffee stirrer and cut off a 1/2 inch section. Cut an angled sliver off each long side so you end up with this shape. Glue the scroll cut out to the top of each side. Push the tops together so they meet and add a drop of super glue to hold them together. For some detail on the scroll, I take 2 toothpicks with carved ends. Cut off a bit of that end and glue it to the side of the scroll. Do this for both sides and sand them down until you like the look. Now you can glue this headstock to the body. This is really starting to take shape. Before we keep going, I'm going to add some holes for the tuning pegs. Using that tiny hand drill again, I make 2 holes on each side of the scroll. Make sure they're in different positions on each side. Okay, now let's finish the body. For some support to the neck, I take this thin 1/8 of an inch round dowel and cut off a 1/8 of an inch section. And split that in half and glue 1/2 to where the neck meets the body. Let's get to the fun part and begin painting this little guy. I use some brown acrylic paint in the color burnt sienna. Dilute it with a tiny bit of water and brush it onto the violin. You can build up the color in layers, so no need to be heavy-handed here. Here's another violin I made darker just by adding more layers. Once the paint is dry, we can add on the finishing details. For the tuning pegs, I grabbed some 20 gauge jewelry wire. I paint a section of it black using nail polish because acrylic paint doesn't stick to metal. Use some metal shears to snip off 4 1/4 inch pieces. Now just stick each piece into the holes we made earlier and add some glue. While that dries, let's make the fingerboard. Cut off a 1 inch piece from a coffee stirrer and thin out the sides at an angle. Stick that onto the back with some masking tape and paint it black. Once that's dry, glue it onto the neck. The bottom of this fingerboard should be raised slightly off the body. For the tailpiece, draw a funnel shape onto a coffee stirrer and cut it out. Use the same hand drill and make 4 holes at the wide end. Paint that black as well. For the strings, I'm using this white sewing thread. Cut out 4 lengths of string longer than you think you'll need. Then thread each one through a hole in the tailpiece. Once they're all in, tie a knot at the back side and cut off any excess string. These are now securely held in place. Add a drop of glue to the back of the tailpiece and position it at the bottom center of the body. Before we fully secure the strings in place, we need one more piece. Take a thin, rounded coffee stirrer and cut off a tiny section. Glue that to the center of the body between the F-holes to act as the bridge. Hold the strings over the bridge and glue them down. Then thread the other end of the strings through the squirrel between the wires. Add a drop of super glue to the back and cut off the excess string. Almost done, guys. All we need to finish is the tuning pegs. Take a toothpick and slice off a thin section. Make 4 of these. Glue one to each end of the wire piece to act as a tuner. Paint them black and you're done. This is optional, but I decided to add on a coat of polyacrylic varnish for a glossy finish. For the violin bow, I take a thin toothpick, cut off 1/8 of an inch off the blunt end and a super tiny piece off the pointy end. Make one more cut on the pointy end, but don't cut it all the way through. Just break it at an angle and add some wood glue to hold that shape in place. Glue that tiny piece to the other end and then add the 1/8 of an inch piece horizontally on top of that. Paint the entire thing brown except for that 1/8 of an inch piece. This is called a frog and you want to paint that part black. Grab a few strands of white thread and add glue to one end. This will keep them all together. Glue that end right under the frog. Add a drop to the tip of the other end and pull the string straight down over it. Once the glue is dry, cut off the excess string. Add some varnish to the bow and your violin set is all complete. These tiny things are perfect for your dollhouse or for some funny memes about playing a sad song on the world's smallest violin. I really hope you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did and make sure to subscribe for more. I'll see you next time. Bye.